Welcome back to the Chronicles of Chris's Fish Room. Tonight I want to show you some of my African Ciclids and kind of show you the tanks and give you a little bit more detail on how I keep them. This tank here is my Yellow Lab and my Frontosa tank. Because I'm standing here, they've all kind of went to ground. There's 5 Frontosas in here, and there's probably 8 to 10 Yellow Labs. And it always amazes me that there's babies make it in this tank. I do pull the mothers and breed them and put them in the other tank. You can see right in the front there, I've got a holding mother right now. You can kind of see off the left, there's a 1/2 inch fry, and down below the rocks there's a little 1/2 inch fry as well. So kind of amazes me that these guys make it. The largest Frontosa is about 7 inches long. You know, I'm waiting for these guys to get to breeding age and size. I've had them for about 2 years, and you know, one, they're comfortable and they're out. They're a very beautiful fish. The tank is a 90-gallon bowfront. It's not high-tech by any means. It's got a shop light across the top of it. It's got a sponge filter in the corner, and it's got 2 AquaClear 70s on the back. One's got a large sponge filter on the intake. The other one had a sponge filter on it, but ended up catching a fry in the bottom of it, so I took it off when I cleaned it, and I just haven't put it back on yet. I left him alone for a few minutes, and you can see a few more of the Frontosas are coming out. Threw a little bit of food in there. You can see the big male in the front of the tank there. He's by far the dominant fish in the tank. Kind of rules everything. He's about 7 inches, I'm guessing. Nice looking fish, very dark though. Other Frontosas are lighter and their stripes are a little bit more pronounced. I guess you can see a few of them now. These guys get a diet of pellets, flakes, some frozen food, mice of shrimp, bloodworms. They like the freeze-dried shrimp and freeze-dried krill as well. They'll eat pretty much everything and anything. I do not usually feed them a bunch of meat. I like to mix it up and give them a treat. I always neglect to say that these tanks have some algae eaters and some plecos in them, some common plecos, some bristlenose plecos. Common plecos will end up in the bigger tanks as time goes on, but overall nothing is over a foot long, and those ones are in the big. This wasn't always the African Ciclid tank. The other 180-gallon was the first African Ciclid tank. Ended up having a major crash in that tank and lost a bunch of fish, so I went and bought another 180-gallon bowfront or 180-gallon tank and turned it into my African Ciclid tank, and a couple years later here we are. It's overstocked, it's well filtered, it gets 2 water changes a week, and it's like I said, it's probably my favorite tank. You can always walk by and see the fish and the venustus, which is probably my favorite fish right now, or other than the Fahaka puffer. I've always liked the venustus, like their pattern, and I enjoy them in this tank. They haven't gotten so big that they've had to be moved or put into a bigger tank as of yet, but if that time comes, I will just have to get another tank, another bigger tank. A good chunk of the decorations and rocks and wood are all just collected here locally. Try to use what I can. There's obviously some stuff that I've bought over the years. With the rocks, the way they're laid out, I do end up with quite a bit of fry in there. Some make it, some don't. I don't ever try to pull fish out of here because it would take me forever. Watching somebody like Deb Tim, she always knows who her tank bosses are and who's number 2 and number 3 in her tank, and lots of people do, and I sit and watch this tank quite often, and it changes all the time. I couldn't tell you who the tank boss is. I couldn't tell you from day to day who's in charge of this tank. I don't lose any fish out of this tank. Not really a bunch of nipped fins or damaged fins. Do have some that get a little bit older and don't make it, but overall this tank is running very well, and I enjoy it quite a bit. My son did buy me some a little bit more expensive lights for this tank. Again, not aquarium related, but they're the Hue strip lights, which are about $110 each up here in Canada. I've got 3 of them on here, so I can change the color and change the tint and brighten it up whenever I want to. So it's nice to change that up. It's not going to grow plants by any means, and with these cichlids in here, I'm not going to grow plants anyhow. So it's just nice to have a little bit nicer of light setup. Can't really afford the fluval lights up here in Canada, because looking on Amazon, they're $350 for a 3-foot light. So it's pretty expensive. I guess there's cheaper options out there, but this works well and it gives me some options. It always amazes me the little fry that make it with these big beasts in here. Grow up and have a good life. Struggle for food, I'm sure, down there at the bottom, but when you're feeding these guys, it's a frenzy. As everybody knows, it has African Ciclids. Try to give them some swimming room on this side, and a little bit crowded over on this side. Put some plants in there for fish that are being picked on, that they've got a place to go hide. Cat's come in here 3 times and knocked over the tripod. A little bit challenging and a lot to learn when it comes to filming, and trying to turn off pumps and lights and trying to get no reflection. I'm enjoying doing this after all these years. I enjoy the comments that you guys give and the views that I'm getting. Appreciate the support. Thank you guys all for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them down below. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe.